Hey guys! So today I will be doing my very first how-to tutorial. So this is my client Natalie. Say hi, Natalie.
Hi.
And she looks a mess. Yes, but it's okay because she came to the right place. So Natalie is interested in being bashed by Torri. Oh yeah. So what we're going to do today is a full head sewing. Okay, so initially when Natalie came in, we did our consultation. Guys, this is important because you want to make sure that you and the client have the best agreement beforehand, because you hate to get halfway through a service and they go, "What are you doing?" Or you go, "Is this what you wanted?" So we talked and she has decided that she wants a full sew-in. So I'm going to get her shampooed. Alright guys, so my client is shampooed. Guys, clean hair is very important. You don't want to do a sew-in with dirty hair. That goes without saying. Okay, so this video is a tutorial. It's a how-to, but it's not a step-by-step per se, because I'm quite far away from the camera. But what I want to do is, for those of you who are just starting out, or maybe those of you who just want maybe another idea of, you know, what you do as far as when you do your sewing, this is what this is for. It's not necessarily to basically teach you step by step. Okay, so things that you need when doing a sewing. You always want to moisturize, because you don't want to braid dry hair. But you don't want to over moisturize, because it depends on how you are as a braider. You want to make sure that you can get a nice firm grip on the hair. Okay, I am going to use some synthetic hair to braid her down. So I believe that your braids should be as small as possible. And the only reason why I want this hair is just to help me get a better grip. Her hair is really soft. She's natural, but she's really soft. So guys, I am literally going to use this much hair, maybe a little bit less, just enough for me to be able to have something to tug onto. Secondly, of course, you need your thread. I prefer cotton thread. Some prefer nylon thread. I don't like the nylon thread because to me it slides around too much. And when I'm going, I just need that cotton because it grips and it goes with me. I do not like the nylon thread, guys. And this is the cotton thread. And of course you need your needle. Because of the way that I'm braiding her hair, and because of the way that I close my closure up in the top, I am going to use a net, guys, and I'm going to custom fit it where I want it. So let me talk about the net for a second. Some people, guys, use the net for different reasons. It depends on your condition of your hair. Sometimes it's not needed. Sometimes it's wanted. And sometimes it's for a certain purpose. For me, for today, it's for a certain purpose. She doesn't want it. She doesn't need it. But I need it to do the pattern I am going to braid her hair. I am not going to show you. I am going to tell you. So the next time you see her, her hair will be completely braided. Okay, so back in the day, guys, and I'm saying back in the day because I just hope nobody is still doing it. But if you are, it's your preference. The beehive braids, out. Come on, guys. Let's upgrade. Let's move up. Let's do a little bit better. Now, I know there are some people that still do the beehive and they get it right, but there are some guys, you see those. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and this is my most favorite braiding method, guys, and another thing I want to stress too is anytime you can create a pattern where you can sew against the braid, it will be beneficial. Because if you braid, let's just talk for a second. If you braid straight across and you sew straight across, when that hair begins to grow, that braid begins to get floppy. But if you braid straight down or you braid straight across, or however you deem it necessary, and you go against the braid, then you're holding that braid down. So when it begins to grow, it doesn't move from side to side because the hair is not sewn from side to side. Like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to braid a snake in the back, and a snake goes from side to side, from side to side. So let's say I'm going to S-shape the back, and when I get to about here, I'm going to go all the way around the perimeter once, all the way around the perimeter twice, and it depends on the size of your client's head. A third around the center around the head will work. Okay, so after I do my around, when I get to this point, I'm going to do straight back braid, straight back, straight back, straight back, straight back, straight back. Okay, guys? So that's what I'm about to do now. I'm going to braid. All right, guys. So she is all braided. Now, like I said before, I just left a little bit of hair down in the back. And you do your S shaping. There goes her S. And you do your around. Guys, and I did 3 times around just because she's got a big head. Alright, and there goes my first straight back braid, and so on. So, notice that these braids are quite small and neat and tidy and everything else. Okay? These are your most important braids. These braids need to be the neatest and the tightest, because when you're brushing and you're tugging and you're ponytailing, you're always focusing on the back. Now, I know I said earlier that you never want to sew with the braid, but in the back, unless you're doing straight back braids, which, nah. Some people do. It's up to you, but I usually don't. So back here, you usually are going to sew with the braid, usually these first 3 braids. Now, let's talk about what I'm getting ready to do with the net. Okay, so notice her straight back braids are not really small. They're not really that big. They're not really all that neat. I mean, they are, but they aren't. But it's okay. So what I did was I took the ends of the braids, I underhand braided it really, really tight, and I'm just going to sew this down here. Some people may feel as if it would leave a bulk in the back. It doesn't. It doesn't pop out. But guys, it's important that you know how to sew, because you're going to have to get up under it and sew it down really, really good. So you sew it down in the beginning and you sew it down as you're sewing. But that's a whole nother thing that's more intensive. Like I said, this is just more, you know, instructional. Okay, so let's chat for a second. Do you see these spaces? Some people's spaces are bigger than others. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to braid. It doesn't mean that you didn't braid correctly. It's just the way that their hair braids. Now, I didn't do a beehive circle, but my braids still have, my tracks still have to go continually in a circle. But I want this sewing to be as flat as possible. So I don't want any kind of bulk nowhere near the area that I have to create that circle. Okay. She's going to get me, but I'm all doing all kinds of... Okay. So, you see here, there is no braid. And you see here, each part, you know, in between each cornrow. What the net does, it's a filler. Okay, guys? And it's an awesome filler, because you don't have to worry about skipping a beat when that net is there. I really think, guys, that a lot of us should really gravitate towards it, because, guys, when, let's say that I didn't use a net, right? And you sewed on each individual braid. Your client can go in and lift, you know, and have that division. When you have the net, if I want to put a track here and a track in between, or if I want to put a track here or wherever I want to put a track, I can. So that when you lift your sewing up, it's nice, tight, and everything is all together. It rolls. It makes sense. There's no super, you know, space in between a track because you have one braid here and one braid here. Well, if that be the case, you have the net that flows through the middle, so you can have one track here, one track here, and one track here. To me, it's more of a help. So guys, some people may say it's necessary. Now, some people, they don't like it. Okay, no problem. I don't necessarily need it. It helps. It works. It causes it to be different. Now, some people use, it's like this, but it's a cap and it has a band around it. I don't like the band because I don't like anything that's going to cause the edges to have anything just sitting on it. And also, too, one thing I want to mention too, is when you begin to do your circle, it has to end. And if there's nothing there and there's nowhere to end, you're going to have to sew those tracks together, holding on to the tracks. And that is what creates the wobbly, wobbly, wobbly. But with the net, you can sew all the way up. You can sew all the way up until you close it, because that net is there to help you and to work with you. So there's different ways I can do this, okay? I can just use a net here, you know, because this is where it's most important. Or she's a kid, guys, and she's in high school, and so can you imagine? I can. Okay, so I think it would be best that we use the entire net. Okay, so I am going to sew it down, starting in the front, and you don't really have to sew it side by side by side, guys. You're just sewing down the net. So you just want to go in, sew, 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 all the way around. Take your shears and trim off the excess net so that you can be ready to shake and bake. All right.